to make a bank switch.
I would like to make a motion to switch our bank from First Federal to Farmers Bank to gain a whole bunch more money. You don't have to put that in there like that.
Whole bunch more
Yeah.
money.
For the benefit of the town's funds.
Do I have a second?
Yeah, just one thing. I assume we'll keep First Financial until we order checks from farmers and have everything on hand before we close everything out.
Yeah.
Okay. Negative. I second.
Okay. So motion's been made and seconded to switch our banking from First Financial to Farmers Bank. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okey doke. Brooke, you get the reins.
Okay. And that's all the Gaddis Street house. I was, or it's actually North Street.
Thanks, Mike.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
We don't have a light.
Listen to this. Go ahead.
Oh,
Oh,
so Angie Heffer came over today and told me they had a slumlord offer on the firehouse, and I said, "Does his name rhyme with Ho Jufford?" But anyhow, so I've talked to the guy. We talked about it earlier. I think everyone, Sally, you might not have been here. You might have been walking in during it. So I talked to the guy that used to live there. He's the son-in-law of a lady who owned it who passed.
oh, okay.
And she left him in a lot of, I guess, financial and legal issues. I really don't know. I didn't ask him. He didn't say. That's just what he said. A lot of issues they're having financially and legally, trying to get the house over to them so they can sell it, or bulldoze it and fix it up or build a new one. So that's all he said. He's out of work. He's got a hip issue, so he's unable to go mow and clean up and all that. He sent his wife over. She did clean up. She put the stuff on the alley. It'll be picked up Saturday. We've already called Waste Management and told them we need them because they're not customers right now because the water's off. So we called Waste Management and here comes Chad, and told them that they need to ask them to pick that up in the alley so that stuff will be gone. It's actually not much. I'm hoping they go and maybe put more stuff in that pile, but it's a lot. Like the clothes are gone. I mean, I mowed there today.
Yeah.
The clothes are gone. The baskets, laundry baskets, not sitting by the door anymore. The grill is moved. That had weeds growing up through it. It's moved out to the alleyway. Cardboard box that was huge sitting by the door. It's moved out to the alleyway. And that's what I know about it right now. So I know there's a lot of interest in that land.
Oh.
So
Okay.
I've talked to the neighbors just by happenstance because I went over and took pictures of another yard catty corner from it, and some neighbors were on the porch and they're interested in buying it. They're interested in buying it. So a lot of people interested in buying it. So
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
we'll
So
see.
tell them we know a lawyer or two that could help them get that deed transferred to their name.
I will tell him. I felt like he was super overwhelmed the last time, because they just moved. But I'll send him a message and say there's a lot of people interested in that property. If you're
To get the deed situated.
yes,
Oh.
and if you want numbers, let me know. And if you want numbers to a lawyer, I mean, I don't know if you even want if you do that kind of stuff, but if you do, okay,
we do.
I'll let him know. I can give him take a picture of your card and send it to him.
I can give you more cards.
That's fine. I'm not gonna run him down.
That's fair.
I'd rather just send a picture in a text, but yeah. So that's pretty much all I have on that.
Okay.
The Carrie Bright run I didn't need to talk about. I don't know if you were in here when I said that. She wanted a police officer there at first, and now she doesn't because Tommy Dillingham's going to volunteer. And all they wanted was maybe some cones. So
And when's this supposed to take place? Or
21st of June, and they're leaving like the baseball fields and going out to Prince William and back.
oh,
It's just a little Brendan Bright for sheriff
Oh.
fun run or something like that. It's not real big, and it's not. You don't have to shut roads down or anything like that. So
Okay.
she said the most they would need are a few cones.
okay.
I said, okay, well, we don't need to pass anything by the board, but I'll mention it still.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
problem there. So yeah. Okay.
That was it. Other than the one thing I wanted to mention was I was going to ask you guys about this, but then I talked to the State Board of Accounts, Mitch, in between. The Sam's Club, we don't pay anything ACH. And Sarah said, "Oh, you don't do that. You can't do that here." Well, I talked to, and we've had trouble paying Sam's. They keep charging us interest and a late fee. They did it 2 months in a row. So I called them on the first month, and they said, "Well, we're not getting it in time." And I tell them, it hits my desk and it goes out that day. There's my Sam's Club and our insurance stuff doesn't sit here more than most of it. Most of it doesn't sit here more than a day, anyways. But those two things I know to never let sit more than a day. The Blue Cross Blue Shield, it's got to go out the day of, and they're probably still going to get it late, and they're going to send us a warning. That always happens because they just don't give us enough time. It's not getting to us in time for us to get it to them in time. The 2 weeks and 2 weeks or whatever in the mail. But that's not a big deal because there's no late fees, and they're not dropping us.
We're talking about Sam's Club.
No, we're talking about Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Okay.
Sam's Club is costing us because they're putting interest on it, and they're putting a late fee on it, and it's cost us about $60 2 months in a row. So I just made an executive decision and
Close
paid
it?
the last one ACH. No, I'm ready to close it though. It's our only credit card though. It's the only one that works. So I hate to do that because everybody needs it. You know, it's not just me, and I don't use it very often. But when I need it, I need it.
Can you get a
It helps me not pay out of my pocket and then have to pay myself back or pay Chad or pay. Nobody wants to see their name on our our record book.
Do we
so.
actually buy anything at Sam's?
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of stuff. I mean, all the stuff for the pavilion we buy at Sam's, that's pretty much,
Well, and all the Amazon, anything, we have an Amazon account, so that credit card's on that.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
So,
we got a Sam's card too, but that's not a problem.
but now, well, it is for us.
Huh.
But now that we can do ACH and the State Board of Accounts said we can,
Yeah.
it's not going to be an issue. Because I'm just
Okay.
going to pay ACH. Here's you get a confirmation thing, and I just wanted to make sure there was enough paper trail to be comfortable with if and when the audit comes, they can look at this and they can see. But it's pretty clear. I haven't done it yet with insurance. I don't really care to, as long as they're not dropping us. This was an issue one time. They said they were going to drop us, and I had to call them, and then they understood. I looked at the envelope and I said, "This is when we got it." I paid it out the very the day of. It went in the mail before 3:00, and you're not getting it in time. And so they've never sent us a thing again saying we were going to be dropped. They've sent us things saying we haven't. It's like a generic thing that goes out automatically, but they haven't sent us a letter since then about us going to be dropped.
Okay.
And we're having the same problems with them, but again, they're not saying we're going to be dropped, and they haven't dropped us. So I'm okay with that. And we have a lady I can call directly when that happens, so I can immediately talk to somebody. Where Sam's, they don't care. They're just like, well, we don't have it,
Yeah.
you know, and I get it.
If
But
that solves your problem, that's fine.
yeah. So anyhow, we're doing ACH I'm just doing it for Sam's right now.
Okay.
And then when we do switch this bank, we'll get charged for ACH as we do. So I don't want to go crazy with it, but it's 25 cents per ACH. So
Let's spend our $60.
Should be 25 cents a month. Just this will be the only thing
Okay.
being paid on it.
That's better than $60.
Yeah,
So,
and that's all I got.
okay. Well, we guys will go back up the top now.
Yeah.
Ed.
Sorry for being late.
Hey, that's all right. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. No problem.
I don't know what you covered on the ordinances or anything.
We haven't talked about that. I was kind of
Yeah,
waiting on you to
That's
get here.
fine. Well, first of all, I didn't get to print anything out because I got a call, but you know, we had the vehicle break-ins, and then we had the sheds being broken. Thanks to everybody involved, we had made an arrest within, you know, the first day of it. Great camera footage from people. With that being said, so the one where the sheds and stuff were broke into, there was items that were recovered that we really had no place to put those. So, I mean, we have a few options here, and one is like, and I know this is a no, but you know, with the rat van being in there, if we had an area to put a cage and put a lock on it, would be one solution. The other would be to get the cameras fixed on Chad's building. That way always shines on our door. So if anybody was to go in, then it becomes a secured premises, right? Or we rent a storage unit for one of the storage buildings behind. Yes, Sally.
This might be a stupid question, but if they're recovered, why aren't they returned to the person they were stolen from?
There's
Evidence?
a process.
Okay.
Yeah. And those people have to come to recover it, right?
Okay.
We don't know who it belongs to.
Oh,
So until those people come, we have weed eaters and stuff. They did come and recover those. So the plus to it was that didn't stay in the garage very long, and they did come and recover it. But in a situation like that, we have nowhere to put any big items like that. A lot of the other stuff is sitting in the office, right? That people has not claimed yet. So I don't know what route you guys want to go with that. Cameras.
Obviously, probably the least expensive. What's the camera fix?
I don't know. I mean,
They're just
Some of
old.
the-
We've had them for a while, and the network recorder is outdated. And then we started losing cameras. We tried to replace one of the cameras, and it doesn't work. So yeah, the guy that was just here was the guy that he knows about it. He spent 2 or 3 hours off the clock
Mhm.
trying to help us figure out what we got, and he finally said that you're probably gonna have to basically just. We don't have to run any new wire. The wire's already there. The cameras mounts are there. We're just basically gonna have to replace the recorder and the cameras. So we've lost 2 out of the original 4. We bought 1 camera on Amazon that it hooked up, but it doesn't give you the right resolution because the network video recorder is like 6 years old, so you can't. The resolution's not like for what he's wanting.
So
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to make a face out that far away because it's just old technology. So, but yeah, Mike Hufford said that he could get us stuff. I just had been holding off on it for a little bit.
Did he give you that figure?
I would guess we're probably in that $1,000 to $1,500 range because we got some issues. We got the same system, only 11 cameras at the wastewater plant. We're starting to lose cameras at the wastewater plant too. But same deal. We have all the wire ran. It's just a matter of
Cameras.
basically it's kind of like a computer. Anything over 5 years is a gift on a computer, and we're 6 to 8 years old on some of that equipment. So.
Well, that's far and away cheaper than renting a storage unit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He did. Ed and we just talked about it last night. I just haven't had a chance to get a hold of Mike yet about what a firm price would be. So.
I mean, the thing with the storage unit, we don't need it all the time. That's the problem, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, putting the cameras up there would be, because he has a camera that one faces the gas pumps and one faces our entry doors. So, at that point, then if anybody was to go in there and
And that'd be beneficial all the time too.
all the time, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, which would be, I mean, you just have to upgrade this stuff from time to time, and it's just the
Your
time, I
cameras
guess.
Fantastic. Right.
They're not bad. They're
I mean,
better.
They did what we needed them to do. You know what I mean?
Is the prosecutor doesn't? They don't take anything like that.
I could ask, but he gave us. Oh, what do you mean to store it?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, they don't have like evidence. They
For the
just
prosecutors?
rely on you to do all that.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was like the county.
It's a department issue. I guess I don't. We start taking everything down there, they're just going to back up as well. I don't know what their storage is like at the county jail either.
Yeah, I think just get with Mike and see what's going to run. And go
Well,
from there.
originally, it wasn't just the security of that building. Why we bought that system is to watch the vault water sales. So when guys don't write their loads down, we can be able to identify guys and charge them for the water that they didn't
Yeah.
write down. So
Yeah.
that's what triggered the whole camera system initially. But then once you have it, it's nice to have that security of knowing that you can go back and look at it. So.
Yeah. So just get with Mike and see what's going to cost and go from there. So, okay. Anything else? Oh,
Yes. The ordinances.
Okay.
So I've been asked about the grass and stuff with the ordinance, right? So I went through and I've read and I've read, and I just can't get a clear answer on what I'm
These
reading.
ordinances
Yeah.
are like insane. I went through them today, and
I can't actually find.
how come I can't go into the index and find yards or mowing or lawn or like I can go find golf carts,
Yeah,
but
Seems like
like
they
we
need
get
to do
complaints
golf.
about lawns all the time,
right.
but I can't. It's very vague
Yeah.
and hard to find. I
Yeah.
still haven't found it. I found out what the fine is
Yeah.
if we go mow it,
So that's
or if
what,
they don't do it.
That's what, yeah, and you can find the fine in it, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to lawn, there's a whole broad range of everything but actual grass, right?
Mhm.
The weed being 8 inches,
Yeah. Right. Right.
you know. So if we could get some clarity on that, would be
Yeah.
fantastic.
Okay.
And you talked about
Um,
American Legal Publishing. Is
Well,
that
that's the, if you see, that's the name on the book there, but
yeah.
Yeah.
they're just putting together what you give us.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, American
Yes.
Legal Publishing is just going to put together. They're just basically organizing, what we send to them, things of that nature. So, I mean, if you guys want Alicia and I to do an overhaul on them, that's something we can absolutely talk about. I'm guessing you probably would want to know roughly what that's going to cost. So I would need to kind of go through, find out how many we've got, give you an estimate as to timeline. Maybe that's something that we plan out as a, kind of a multi-year goal or something like that. Maybe try to attack one section per year and make the plan that in 2 or 3 years, we're going to have a good, really updated set of ordinances. Give us the opportunity to kind of go through them. Because I have not read the ordinance book in its entirety, largely because I didn't have the green light to do that and don't want to bill you guys for time that,
Yeah.
if it's not a goal. If that's a goal that we need to talk about, coming to a point of clarity, maybe revising things, taking a look at things, making sure things still make sense with kind of our current goals for the town, that makes complete and total sense. In the meantime, I'll peruse through the stuff as far as like the lawn things and try to come to a more clear answer. And if we need to pass another ordinance that kind of amends and, maybe restates a couple things, maybe it's just a good time to start reviewing some of this stuff and putting it together in a concise way that makes sense for the town currently.
well, I think some of the stuff in there doesn't even apply anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And like we don't have you have so much time to mow after you've been tagged.
Yeah.
Somebody said it was 15 days. Well, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's an insane amount of time. When you've already been tagged, your lawn's already this tall and you have 15 more days.
Yeah.
That's too long. I'd say 48 hours to 72 hours is plenty of time. You can call somebody to mow it. There's people advertising all over the place. Or
Well, I think
get
I read something there that actually said 7 days.
7 days.
If they're gone on vacation, they don't even get the notice or.
Yeah.
Most
I mean,
people
there might be
leave on
exceptions.
vacation or have somebody to mow their yard. I mean, they don't let it go if they're gone for more
I
than.
looked pretty bad a couple weeks ago, but that's because my mower was broken.
Well, and everything's
It was
situational,
getting
but
pretty- it was getting pretty tall for me.
I mean, these people are out sitting on their porch with a lawn this long,
Yeah.
and maybe they don't have a mower, but I think they do.
The only other thing that I had was we have some,
Every now and then, this is 5 people. I'm not talking about just one, but
we have some of our old duty weapons that are no longer in service anymore. A couple of the guys on the department had asked if they could purchase them. I said I'd have to ask you guys first. I mean, so when they retire, they're allowed, there's an agreement, they're allowed to take their duty weapon, they're not retiring, and they're old, beat up. So I thought I'd run it by you guys to see what your thoughts were on that.
So you don't use them anymore? So they're not in use. Do you have an idea what the value of each one that they're, okay, could you
No,
come
I
up
could
with
get the
something?
value, yeah.
Does it have to go through FFL?
I don't think so.
Really?
Oh yeah, what if it's a handgun?
I would think it'd have to go through FFL.
With it being a law enforcement gun and there being law enforcement, yeah.
I'm just curious if you would need to do a transfer like that through a
You gotta do a
dealer.
transfer. 'Cause it's listed as,
I'm
I'll
not sure
check
how it
into
works
it.
with the government.
Yeah, like I said, I know that they take their service weapon when they retire, they take that with them. And
That's by
Sign.
resolution. That's usually by resolution.
that's by resolution, we sign the form and turn it over to them.
Yeah, if they're
I'll
not
check
being,
into that.
if they're not being used, then
Yeah, just cut, yeah, if we can do it, like, see about what they're worth and what they want to pay, and sure better than just laying around.
Sure.
Okay. Other than that, that's all I have.
Are we making any progress on the flock system?
Well, so it's still in permitting. I actually just talked to Chad yesterday. I think the guy that he's working with may be the same guy that we're working with, so we're gonna communicate that with the report district. And I actually think that the Crawfordsville district is the same girl that Chad is.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because she had called when the paperwork was messed up, right? And so we got the paperwork all straightened out, and things are, with that paperwork, things are good now, so it's in the permitting process.
Okay,
I know.
mind numbing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Chad, since you're here, I guess we'll let you do your thing.
Yeah, I actually didn't even hurry and got
Oh,
back,
okay.
so
All right, cool.
that's good. So, I'll probably try to skip over some of that minutia, but it was just, I wanted to get you guys some information because things are, and most of what's driving my anxiety is the engineers reaching out wanting to put in on this planning grant, and I'm trying not to turn away meetings so they can give us, basically what they want is specific information from us on what we're looking for this planning grant. So when they give the proposals due early June, that they're customized to what Rossville wants to see.
Mhm.
So actually, since I sent you guys the email, I had I think 2 more that reached out today through Mike Kleinpeter that want to meet. So I will say that even as much as I talk, and I talk, that the meetings are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. The more of them I have, it's like, no, I just got to make this quick and we got to move on. So,
Good for you.
Yeah.
I'm a victim of my own personality. So, so let me open that back up here. So that was, like I said, I wanted to get you guys information because the stuff is just for me, I can see it starting to pile up, that it's going to just keep piling up on me to get through this planning grant application. Okay, I got it open now. So not, first thing, we're going to try to replace the hydrant tomorrow. We got some stuff lined up. We're going to have enough part-time guys. We're going to have actually 6 guys. I couldn't tell you the last time we've had 6 guys working one day, so we're gonna try to fix that and fix the Rockport pump station piping tomorrow. I assume that emergency response plan I left up here is probably still in that pile somewhere. Like I said, I'm not sure that we have to adopt it, but it does lead into another thing on the which is right pretty much below that on also ordinance issues last week. The classic of explaining to somebody where our line stops and where their line begins. And yeah, I looked like an idiot. I mean, where do I find that? Where you've worked here this long and you can't tell me exactly where that is in a book? And yeah, I couldn't. So I did find it. It's in your packet of the definition of customer responsibility. It defines it as a cutoff, anything from the cutoff valve to the home.
Mhm.
My problem with that is, well, yeah, sure, as the water superintendent, I would say that's the cutoff valve in the meter pit. Who knows what somebody else is going to define a cutoff valve as? And when I went to the definition section.
I would define it as a cutoff valve that the town operates, not that the homeowner operates.
Well, yeah, so to me,
I think a
more
court
concise
would see
language
the
was
same way.
needed for me to stand on the soapbox and say, that's not our problem, that's
So-
past the cutoff valve.
Instead of cutoff valve, why don't you just say the meter?
Yeah, keep in mind, some of these ordinances had to be written 40, 50 years ago, maybe, I don't know.
Another reason to go through them and get them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
clarity.
And then when I looked up the sewer, because, so basically, in the meter pit, it goes through the meter, there's the fitting, we have what's called a yoke bar in the meter pits. The ones like in your house, that is even cloudier when the meter is in the house. The way I interpret it on a house is there is a little shut off out in the yard, anything past that is the customer's line. And once again, I'm basing that off of JJ, Eric, everybody that I've worked with telling me that. Now, the ordinance doesn't say that. It just says cutoff valve. That's it. Well, if the meter pit's there, that's pretty concise. And I would even say it goes through the meter, and then whatever they tied on to that side of the meter is theirs.
Right.
Like I said, we've been kind of unlucky getting some where it's that fitting that they put in on our side that then the argument begins. Well, it's tied to your meter. Well, but it's not a fitting we would have used. It's a fitting that you used on your side, and it's past the meter. So,
And she thought everything in the pit was.
well, that was a little more complicated
Yeah.
situation, and thankfully it got resolved. And they didn't have to dig anything up, so that was the real
Oh, they
plus.
didn't?
No.
Okay.
I was able to scrounge some parts that were like one step from going in the scrap pile. That we can't buy them anymore, but I still had it, so we were able to swap some fittings out to make that work. Because
Okay.
those old pits, like your pit, those are 1938 pits. I mean, so they're the original. So we can't get the parts for that yoke bar anymore. So the only option, if we couldn't fix it, was you're gonna have to cut it off live and jam a new yoke bar on it while it's spraying up in the air, which we've done. We've had good luck with them and bad luck with them.
Pretty
But
fun.
sometimes you get wet, and sometimes you're able to get it on there pretty quick. Anyway, the sewer. So I looked up the sewer because it's always been it's their line to the main. Well, that one I was able to find some suggestive language in the ordinance that says it's their line to the fitting that attaches to the main, but like I said, once again, it was not very, and I highlighted in there, it's just not very concise to me that specifically, to a layperson that was reading it could say, yeah, okay, I agree with you. That's my line.
Yeah,
to
that
the
kind of
main.
went in circles, I thought.
Yeah, so I didn't. So anyway, obviously not something you're going to fix tonight, but it kind of the timing of it, I guess, with his ordinance and yard stuff, it's probably time to do something with it eventually before. Like I said, as I joked in the email, it's not hard for me to look like a fool if you ask my wife. So, but I just didn't like that feeling of where is it in writing? Why can't you tell me? And you worked here this long. So,
Yeah.
It's not your job to do the ordinances.
yeah. Well, like I said, it's just one of those. I was like, well,
That really touched the nerve, didn't it, Chad?
well, it should have. To me,
Like
that
you
was
said.
my fault. I should have.
really
I
touched the
probably
nerve,
should have
didn't it?
known where that was in writing. So I found it pretty quickly after that. So that's the manhole. So we were talking about permits. I'm struggling with the manhole permit for State Road 39. They have a special projects engineer that has to look over the permit. And I just have a feeling what they're going to do is they're going to drag this out to where the whole idea of putting the manhole in was why the road was closed, getting the manhole put in. Meanwhile, Sean and I noticed today that where we potholed it to verify where the sewer is had sunk in today at an alarming rate, which hopefully doesn't mean that where we exposed it and then filled it back in, the clay line collapsed or anything. So now the only positive of that would be that's an emergency. If it did collapse, we'd have to fix it. So that's a different permit that I can expedite through NDOT. So it's frustrating. And this guy, the permit investigator, has been very helpful. I mean, he's tried to, because basically the engineer NDOT wanted us to basically get our own engineer involved to draw it out. And I said I didn't see the need to get an engineer involved for one manhole that is pretty straightforward on its installation. So I did submit that was the document you signed on the permit renewal for the wastewater plant. So we'll start waiting to see if they add any new regulations to our new permit. The big one right now would be phosphorus, which would cost us money to